Hare Krishna. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5. Chapter is entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. Text number 31. Tejasan Indriyanyanyeva Jnana karma mayani cha Tejasanindriyanyeva Jnana karma mayani cha Tejasanindriyanyeva Jnana karma mayani cha Matajis. Tejasani, the mode of passion. Indriyani, the senses. Eva, certainly. Jnana, knowledge. Philosophical speculations. Karma, fruitive activities. Mayani, predominating. Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion in false ego, and therefore philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion. Purport. The chief function of the false ego is godlessness. When a person forgets his constitutional position as an eternally subordinate part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and wants to be happy independently, he functions mainly in two ways. He first attempts to act fruitively for personal gain or sense gratification, and after attempting such fruitive activities for a considerable time, when he is frustrated, he becomes a philosophical speculator and thinks himself to be on the same level as God. This false idea of becoming one with the Lord is the last snare of the illusory energy, which traps a living entity into the bondage of forgetfulness under the spell of false ego. The best means of liberation from the clutches of the false ego is to give up the habit of philosophical speculation regarding the absolute truth. One should know definitely that the absolute truth is never realized by the philosophical speculations of the imperfect egoistic person. The absolute truth or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is realized by hearing about Him in all submission and love from a bona fide authority who is a representative of the 12 great authorities mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. By such an attempt only can one conquer the illusory energy of the Lord, although for others she is unsurpassable, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam. Tejasani indriyanyeva jnana karma mayani cha. The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion and false ego, and therefore philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion. Hare Krishna. So, we welcome all the devotees, all our guests for our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. I seek the blessings of all the devotees, especially today happens to be the first disappearance anniversary of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So I seek the blessings of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj and all the Srimad Vaishnavas so that I can speak something worthwhile and something for my own personal purification. So this is the theme of the current Bhagavatam classes, where the conversation between these two great personalities taking place, and they are all discussing about the creation. And in this entire creation, the root, the foundation of this creation is ultimately, the material world is ultimately false ego. And so much discussion has gone, so much discussion has happened in regards to this concept of false ego. So, continuing with that same theme, I would like to share something on the same concept of false ego. Ahamatva is what is we call as ego, I-ness. So the essence of I-ness is foundational to our existence. Our existence is known in this world by I or I-ness. And we may change our various identities, we may change our names, we may change our sometimes gender, we may change our nation, nationality, but that I-ness is something that never changes. And that sense of I-ness is what we call as ego. So when I am dash or I am something, so when that I am is followed by something which I am not, that is called as false ego. So ego is I-ness, but false ego is when I am is followed or connected by something that's unreal, something that which I am not, that is called as false ego. So false ego is nothing, in a simple terms, false ego means false identity, that which I am not. So false ego means taking up this false identification that I am this body, I am Indian, I am this, I belongs to this nation, or I am this gender, that gender, I am engineer by profession, I am doctor, housewife, so on and so forth. But beyond this false ego is something called as true ego or real ego. That means when I am is followed by that which I am really is. That means when I am is connected with my real identity, that is soul. So when I identify myself as soul, that means that's true ego. Jivere Swarupa Hoy, Nityere Krishna Das. So, when this I-ness is connected with my true self, my true identity, that is true ego. Now, just me being eternal soul is not my complete identity, because my complete identity is a mix of individual identity and a social identity. Social identity is basically I have my identity in this world because of things around or because of things connected to me. So anything that is in relation to me, that is social identity. So just claiming myself to be an eternal soul is just one part of my identity, one part of my true ego. But when I understand that I am not just an eternal soul, but I am an eternal soul part and parcel of Krishna, that combination, the combination of my individual identity as Brahmasmi and my social identity as being connected with Krishna, Mamevamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So when this both the identity combines, then that is that is true ego. So when the sense of I-ness is in connection with complete truth, I am soul is definitely a truth, but it's a partial truth. But I am an eternal soul, or I am an Atma, part and parcel of Krishna, that makes it that makes a complete identity of mine. So that's true ego. So false ego, that EGO stands for false enjoyership. G stands for falsely claiming ourselves to be God or Ishwar, and O means falsely claiming myself to be the owner of something which I am not. And the true ego or real ego is E is I am eternal soul, G is I am not God but I am godly, and O is I am originally pure. So this is the difference between a false ego and true ego. So ego we all have, and we cannot dissolve ego because ego is a part of makeup. Just as Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha Ahankaram Itiyam Me Binna Prakriti Rastada. Ahankar is also a part of this creation. It's not just that this creation is made up of only Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, Akash, but also the subtle elements. Similarly, I cannot completely get rid of ego. What I can get rid of is the false ego. Or when I reinstate my false ego into the true ego, that is, I am the eternal servant of God. That is the meaning of basically dissolving ego. So many belief systems, they say that we have to ultimately dissolve our ego. Just as they give an example of, candle, a lighting candle ultimately gets melted and gets dissolved. Similarly, we need to dissolve. This metaphor is a main feature of the Buddhist philosophy. This metaphor. Similarly, in the Mayavad school, they give this example of the air within the pot and air outside the pot. When the pot is destroyed, then the air within merges with the air without, and it all becomes one. So this metaphor is the feature of the Mayavad school. But ultimately, Bhagavad Gita explains that we cannot dissolve our false ego. And we cannot dissolve our ego, but we can definitely dissolve our false identification. And of all the false identification that we carry in this world, the ultimate false identification is what Prabhupada explains here. When a living entity considers himself to be God, And Prabhupada says that's the last snare, that's the last catch of the illusory energy. So all our philosophical analysis and all our devotional practices that we do are nothing but tools to dislodge the false ego from our consciousness and put Krishna as the main throne, enthrone Krishna as the Lord of our life. But unfortunately, while we are seeking spirituality, even while practicing spirituality, the false ego makes that last ditch, tries to ditch us, tries to make that last ditching effort, to maintain its grip on us by trying to convince us with this hallucination that I am God or we all are God. But Bhagavad Gita mentions it very clear. We are not God, but we are godly. Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. And further to explain this verse, if we are God, then how can Prabhupada would give this understanding? If we are God, then how can God come under illusion? And if God can come under illusion, that means illusion is higher than God. Illusion is greater than God. That itself contradicts the definition of God, which says someone who is all powerful and all controllership, someone who has all controllership, someone who is supreme. So our Vaishnava understanding is we definitely can never be God, and we can never even dissolve our ego. So Bhagavad Gita explains ego in two senses. One is ego as thing, and second, ego as feeling. Ego as thing is nothing but Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, Akash are things or elements. Similarly, Lord Krishna says ego is also a subtle thing. So Lord Krishna explains ego in this first sense as something which is responsible for the creation. But then ego in the second sense is feeling. So first is ego as thing, which Lord Krishna explains as the 8 elements. But second sense of ego that Lord Krishna explains is ego as feeling. The feeling of superiority, feeling of I am great, I am better than others, or that self-centeredness. Where Lord Krishna says, ahankara vimudhatma kartaram iti manyate. So that ahankar which Lord Krishna is speaking is not the thing, but it's the feeling, or it's that sense of superiority. So ego is explained in two senses. One is as thing, ego as thing, and ego as feeling. So what we can dissolve is not the ego as thing, but what we can truly dissolve as ego as feeling, that wrong identification, that I am better, I am superior, there is no one who can really surpass me. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. That feeling needs to be reduced, that feeling needs to be replaced, that feeling needs to be nullified. So in true sense, dissolving ego means shifting. Dissolving ego means not dissolving the thing ego, but dissolving the feeling ego. And naturally, we as eternal living beings have infinite capacity to love Krishna and experience the love of Krishna. But our ego is like a dress which covers the real self. So our ego, or the false ego, is that dress which does not allow that radiance of Lord Krishna's love to be experienced by us. Just like in winter season, if it's a really chilling winter, then we wear dress above dress above dress. No, we wear sweater, then we wear a thermal inside. No, first we wear our own dress, then we wear a thermal, then above thermal we have two sweaters, and then we cover with shawl and we cover our body with cap and gloves. So what false ego does, basically, it's covering over covering over covering. When we start thinking, oh, I am not just this body, but that is one covering. But another covering is, oh, I am such and such, I am such a great person, this and that. So many layers and layers of false identification keeps covering and enveloping our true self. But if we keep wearing that same winter gear for a long period of time, even when it's summer, then that same dress will start appearing very heavy, it will start appearing very stuffy, we will start feeling suffocated and we just want to throw them off. Why? Because that's not the natural way of dressing ourselves. At the max, we have an inner wear and an outer wear. But when we keep wearing more than what is necessary, then that ultimately suffocates us. So, that's why Lord Krishna performed this pastime of stealing the clothes of the gopis in Vrindavan. Because that in and of itself, has a lot to learn, for a conditioned living entity. When Krishna, is stealing the clothes which were hanged on the trees, at Chirghat, actually those clothes represents, giving up our false identification. So only when we give up our false identification will Krishna, or only when we offer our false identification to Krishna, and when Krishna will steal those false identification, then we can truly surrender ourselves. So Radhanath Maharaj was one time explaining that Brajvasis, they go to Chirghat and they tie many clothes. If you have ever visited Chirghat, where this pastime took place, devotees come and tie many clothes, which signifies that, my dear Lord, I want to offer myself completely to you, but this clothing in the form of my false ego is coming as a major impediment. So I want to tie this false ego to you, I want to tie this cloth to you, so that you will eventually accept me as I am, the real self. So Maharaj was telling that this verse, na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, is like hanging that clothes on the top of the tree, where we are trying to free ourselves from different upadhis. Sarvo upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So when we are trying to get rid of different upadhis, or trying to dovetail those upadhis in the service of the Lord and establish, instead of keeping I in the center, trying to keep Krishna in the center, that's the true meaning of giving up our false identification. So we have a 6S model, which actually helps us, basically hang that false ego on the top of the tree. And we have heard the 6S model many times. And that's the core of our bhakti. Nothing new that I'm going to speak, but how this 6S model is more than sufficient if we practice this 6S model religiously. It is enough for us to dislodge our false ego and enthrone Krishna, as the king of our life. So the first S is Sadachar. How can we give up? How can we try to minimize that sense of ego as feeling? We cannot give up ego as thing, but we can definitely give up or dissolve ego as a feeling. So how can we give up that feeling? Can these 6S help us? So first is Sadachar, or the Vaishnava dealing in terms of humility and respect. So humility and respect are the greatest weapon against this feeling or false ego, in simple terms. So the first S is Sadachar, and Sadachar means cultivating humility and gratitude and respect. So pride and humility goes ill together, but both pride and humility have transformative quality. Pride can transform spiritual into material, and humility can transform material into spiritual. So it's up to us which quality that we truly want to cultivate. And spirituality is all about transforming material into spiritual. So pride transforms our spiritual consciousness into material consciousness, and humility transforms our material consciousness into spiritual consciousness. There was one devotee who went for a seminar on mediation and conflict resolution, and in a big company, and all the company employees, they were saying that our leader is so bossy, our leader is so arrogant, and our leader is always trying to boast. So they could not gel with the leader. So the devotee, after the talk, after he gave the talk on conflict resolution, he went and met the leader, and he said that no, there are so many people who are finding it difficult to just be with you. So no, this leader, all of a sudden, after hearing this, all of a sudden blurted out and blasted. He said, "It's not my problem. It's not that." He made this statement. No, he said that I don't have anger issues. They have obedience issue. They are not obedient to what I am saying. That's the problem. And if they follow whatever I am saying, then I have no reason to get angry. So all the problem is with them and not with me. So it's very easy to pass on the blame to others when the problem lies deep within us. But the bigger problem when we pass on the blame to others is passing on the blame is a problem. But bigger problem than passing on the blame is the problem of losing an opportunity to change our own self. That's a bigger problem. We lose the opportunity to really go deep and try to even accept that I can also be wrong. So yes, that's how ego makes relationships poisonous. Just as when the hoods of Kaliyas were raised, then the poison that emitted from the hoods of Kaliya, they actually poisoned things around that lake to the degree that no one dared coming close to that lake. Even the birds would not dare flying from the top of that lake. Similarly, when our basically our egoistic mentality distances us from others. So we think that I am dominating, we think that I'm controlling, but actually we are isolating ourselves. People don't like to come close to us. Just as no one dared coming close to that lake, the vicinity in and around. So ego poisons everything around us and poisons our heart too. And ultimately, egoistic people are the one who are truly lonely, because there is no one who is going to come close to that person. But the quality of humility attracts everyone and at the same time helps us stay grounded. One time His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was taking parikrama in the Vrindavan forest at Govardhan Eco Village, and one of his god sister met him, and she started glorifying His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and she was so amazed to see the ambience and the atmosphere and the mood created by Maharaj in Vrindavan there in Eco Village. So she started glorifying Maharaj and she said, Maharaj, you have fulfilled my desire of wandering in the forest of Vrindavan. And Maharaj said, in a very humble, gentle tone, Maharaj said, thank you for making me feel that I also have some relevance in this gigantic universal creation. So although we all know, he's the heart, he's the soul, but he still feels himself a small fragmental portion of this entire beautiful creation that took place. There's a beautiful pastime. One of our very senior devotees, His Grace Vrindavan Prabhu, was sharing this pastime that when he came to this temple Chowpatty, many years back, for the first time, he was being assigned this service of being the head pujari. So all that he had to do all throughout the day was keep serving the deities, keep making the bhoga, waking up the deities, resting the deities from morning till night. That's what he was doing. One day, 8 days after he took up this service of worshipping the deities, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj arrived in this temple, at this place. And just at that point of time, one devotee, one brahmachari from other temple also came, and he asked Vrindavan Prabhu if he can offer Mangala Arti. So when Vrindavan Prabhu said, wow, there is someone who has come to relieve me, so I don't mind you taking up this service at least for a day or so. So this devotee who came from the other temple, he said, don't worry, I will take care of the waking up seva, I will take care of the arti. So Vrindavan Prabhu was in the temple hall early in the morning chanting. He thought, today is the day when I get to chant with the devotees in the morning. So while he was chanting and the temple, the darshan opened, when he was paying obeisance to the deities, someone from the back touched his shoulder, and it was none other than Maharaj. And Maharaj, in a very not gentle voice, in a very thunderous voice, asked him, where is Guru Parampara in the altar? The Guru Parampara is missing. Do you think you can attain Krishna by bypassing Guru Parampara? So, he got bewildered, because that was the only day he did not worship and he was not in the altar. And he had never met Maharaj, and he had heard Maharaj is such a humble personality. But now Maharaj is so very, strong. But he said, yes, Maharaj, I will immediately correct. So Maharaj told him to immediately go in the middle of the arti inside the altar and put the Guru Parampara in place. And after the morning program, Radhanath Maharaj gave a talk. During those days, Maharaj would give Bhagavatam class 4 to 5 days in a week. And Maharaj, after the talk, met Vrindavan Prabhu, and Maharaj went up to Vrindavan Prabhu and said, can you please forgive me for being so strong in the morning? Vrindavan Prabhu said, Maharaj, you have full rights over me. You don't have to say sorry. But Maharaj said, can you still forgive me? Said, who am I to forgive you? No, you have to forgive me. And then in the afternoon, when again Maharaj met Vrindavan Prabhu, did you forgive me? Said, Maharaj, please, it's too embarrassing for me. Said, no, I had no reason to really chastise you, and I don't really comment, or I don't really correct unless it is really needed. And I thought at this point of time it was really needed. We cannot cross Guru Parampara and attain Krishna. So I thought it was necessary. Vrindavan Prabhu said, yes, Maharaj, it was definitely necessary and it was needed for me. Again in the evening, when Maharaj was going out for a program, Maharaj met Vrindavan Prabhu. Have you forgiven me? And then when Maharaj again came back in the evening, after the program in the late night, those were the days when all the brahmacharis and Maharaj would all sleep together. And then before sleeping, before going to bed, Maharaj is again asking Vrindavan Prabhu, did you forgive me? If you haven't forgiven me, then I will not get my sleep peacefully. So if you want me to sleep peacefully, then please do forgive me. And Vrindavan Prabhu was embarrassed to the core. And he said, Maharaj, if it is your order, and I really want you to sleep peacefully, so I forgive you. And Maharaj said, Hari Bol, now I can sleep peacefully. Now here is a person who is actually supposed to instruct, correct, guide, and rectify and even chastise if a need be. But he is taking that position, a very humble role, even when it comes to correcting others. So humility is something which is truly essential for us to cut the knots, the strongest knot of false ego. The culture of respect, that is equally important, because offering respect to other is far more helpful to ourselves than offering the respect to somebody else. It is actually far more beneficial. Lord Krishna, that's why he says, Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharya Ahimsa Cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. It may be an austerity. It actually takes a lot of humility to really bend down. Bending down in front of seniors is easy, but bending down in front of the juniors and equals is far more challenging. Swabhut sabhute vishwabhavena swasukhena abhivandita jagama swalayam tata pathyanyva vrajyanandita. Lord Krishna, the way he offered his respect to Sudama was a big surprise to Sudama himself. And when Sudama is leaving back for Dwarka, Sudama is thinking, Kwaham daridra papiyam kwa Krishna Sriniketanam Brahma Bandhur iti smahur bahubhyam parirambita. Lord Krishna offered me respect which probably, maybe he was supposed to offer that respect to someone else. I ended up coming in front of him and probably that was a mismatch. So Lord Krishna by nature is anahankrita, anahankarakrita. That means Lord Krishna has no ego. That's what Bhagavatam first canto explains. So someone who has no ego can offer all respects to even someone who is junior, someone who is far more lower in terms of status in the society. But bigger the ego, far more difficult to offer respect to others. As they say, jukta wahi hai, jisme jaan hoti hai, akadna to murde ki pehchan hoti hai. And that's why it is so very important. Vaishnav dealings, this is foundational, the quality, the sadachar of respect and humility. The second is swadhyay, constant touch. That's the second S is Swadhyaya. The constant touch with the scripture keeps us very much connected to the roots and truths. So when we understand from scripture that Krishna can tolerate lust if a devotee is humble. But Krishna can tolerate lust in a new devotee if that devotee is humble. But Krishna cannot tolerate even a small pride in an advanced devotee. So Swadhyaya also helps us, keeps us steady and sturdy on this path. The third is association of devotees, S or Sangha. How Sangha is so very needed for us to become humble. As it is said that our mind is purified through chanting, our intelligence is purified through scriptures, and our false ego is thoroughly purified by being in the association of devotees. Easier said than done, not that easy. But especially associating with those devotees who are far more advanced than us, who have had far more better, bigger accomplishment and achievements, but still humble. So when we associate with such personalities, then we also realize, what do I have to be proud of? When such great personalities who have done so much, but still they are truly grounded. That's why one of the devotees was sharing, it is always beneficial to be in the association of not just few devotees, but in the association of as many devotees as possible. Why? Because, say for example, when we go for Rath Yatra, in Rath Yatra there are millions of people, and of the millions, at least there are thousands of devotees. We can't judge. Maybe millions of devotees. In the association of millions of devotees, we actually understand our insignificance. Because in my own temple, I may be offering some big service, but when I go and expand my reach and come in contact with more and more devotees, then I realize, oh, actually, my service that I'm offering to Lord Jagannath is very small in compared to what others are offering. So this is equally important, that more we are in the association of devotees, more we understand more we realize our insignificance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he chastised this personality called Kamalakanta Vishwas. And when he chastised Kamalakanta Vishwas, he was actually very unhappy. But Kamalakanta Vishwas was very fortunate to have the association of Advaita Acharya. So when Kamalakanta Vishwas was chastised by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya approaches Kamalakanta Vishwas and he tells that you are so fortunate that you got the chastisement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am longing and looking for such chastisement, but till date, I haven't received even one. So sometimes, or many times, when we get chastisement from others, it is very important for us. We may not be in the mood, or we may not be in the right spirit to take up that chastisement, because our ego may get hurt. But if we have the association of right people, right devotees, then we will get the right spirit. We will also be able to take chastisement in the right spirit. There are many examples like that. Even Sanatana Goswami, he tells Jagadananda Pandit, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him feedback, don't go to Vrindavan all alone. So Sanatana Goswami tells Jagadananda Pandit, how fortunate you are that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally guiding you on this path. So sometimes guidance is seen as chastisement or heavy feedback. But when we are in the right state of consciousness, just as Mukunda Dutt, when Mukunda Dutt was being ignored by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a very long time, and when finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by Mukunda Dutt, will I ever get your darshan? Mahaprabhu said, you will get my darshan, but after millions of lifetimes. But the consciousness with which Mukunda Dutt took that chastisement is something that we need to really embrace in our life. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this consciousness of Mukunda Dutt, that he was so happy that I will at least get to see Mahaprabhu, irrespective of whatever time span is. Mahaprabhu was so happy, Mahaprabhu actually gave him the mercy right there and there. And then, one more example that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, during the pastime of Mahaprabhu dancing in the Rath Yatra in front of Lord Jagannath. Gaur Vilas Prabhu was so wonderfully sharing this example that King Pratap Maharaj was watching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing. And Pratap Maharaj had his assistant whose name was Harichandan. Now Harichandan was trying to help Pratap Maharaj watch Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance. But while Harichandan was actually witnessing Mahaprabhu's dance, Srivas Thakur was there right in front of him. And Harichandan tried siding Srivas Thakur. 1 time, 2 times. And then Srivas Thakur also, he was in so much ecstasy that he did not care who is petting me from behind. And then Srivas Thakur looked behind and slapped Harichandan. And when Harichandan was slapped, Harichandan actually got very angry. But then Pratap Maharaj, he tells, Bhagyavana tumi ihara hastasparasha hoila. That slap was seen as just a hastasparasha. And that slap was seen as being such a fortunate event in your life. Amara bhagya nahi tumi kritartha hoila. You should be grateful that you have received this hastasparsha. That's the mood that's exhibited by great personalities. So we need to have the right people with the right consciousness who will prepare or who will bring our consciousness back to right. So we may be chastised by devotees, but we need devotees' help and mercy only to really walk on this path. Bhumo skalati padanam bhume revavalambanam tvai jata paradanam tvameva sharanam prabho. So we may have committed many blunders, many offenses towards the Lord and his devotees, but ultimately we take shelter of their lotus feet because there is no other way out. So association of devotees is equally important for us to nullify or dissolve that feeling of superiority. And the 4th and 5th is, so ultimately we've discussed, first was Sadachar, second was Swadhyay, the third was Sangha, the 4th and 5th. So just simply by Swadhyay, simply by philosophical or intellectual analysis, we won't get fully purified. So purification happens with connection, and connection to the Lord happens with 2 things. One is seva, and second is what is the last one that remains? Seva and Sangha. So Sangha we discussed, and the 5th one is Seva. So Seva, 2 categories, something very menial, humble, and something very significant that we do. Now, to think that I cannot do any simplest or the menialest of the Seva, and to think because I am so great, and to think that I am so fallen and so small that I cannot do any significant seva, both are the pehlus of false ego. So, when we think too much about ourselves, that I am doing such a significant service, makes us proud. And when we think that I am too much unqualified and I am too much insignificant to do this service, makes us de-energized. But in bhakti, we need to have the balance. Of course, in bhakti, no seva is higher or lower, no seva is less significant or less important. All the sevas we see in Ramayana, Lord Ram, when he for the that's the one occasion when Lord Ram actually told Hanumanji that just as your seva is significant, the seva of that squirrel is also significant. So, of course, the seva is significant, but Lord Ram also wanted to prove the point that even the person is significant. So, when we do seva, and we may be doing significant seva, what will keep us grounded is when we have this understanding that there are many other devotees who are doing significant seva. So, it's not just me. And second is, second understanding is, I may be doing this seva today, a significant seva, but very soon someone else will do this seva. I may not be there, and probably I may become redundant. So we need to strike a balance. Just as we have a sweetness of Krishna and greatness of Krishna, similarly, when time comes, we may be able to do some significant service, but at the same time, we should also have the feeling of insignificance. Some years ago, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu took few of the IITN students to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and when he took these students, he introduced one of the student as Maharaj. He's the topper, in this department. Maharaj immediately remarked, Maharaj said, what is the opposite of top? Pot. So Maharaj said, those who are on the top must wash pot. And that's when they can become good leaders. And on another occasion, one devotee was introduced to Maharaj, and he was being introduced as an overall coordinator. Maharaj, he's the overall coordinator. Maharaj said, overall? Maharaj said, not overall, all over us. We should understand that we are not overall, we are, or everyone is over us. That should be the mood with which we should do our service. So, and the last S is, sadhana. So, connection comes with the help of seva and sadhana. So, this sadhana is equally important for us to keep us grounded. As we all know, there's nothing new to hear about. But yes, false ego is like darkness, and sadhana is like the light. It doesn't, as soon as the light diminishes, as soon as the light diminishes, the darkness automatically appears. We don't have to order darkness to come. We have to make efforts to bring light in the absence of sun. Similarly, we don't have to make efforts to rise our false ego, to really bring our false ego in our life. But we have to make the efforts to really bring down the false ego. So false ego is like darkness, but sadhana is like is like light. More the light diminishes, automatically the feeling of I-ness, the feeling of enjoyership will go up. In case of Bharat Maharaj, he left the association of devotees and he left his sadhana. As a result, there was no one to remind him, or there was no one to ignite that light. As a result, that false identification grew more and more. So air is so subtle that it doesn't take time for air to fit in, even where there is no space. Air is subtle. How subtlest is false ego? So false ego doesn't take time to creep in. Even while doing this practicing the 6S model, still false ego is so subtle that while practicing the 6S model, false ego can creep in, and probably we may miss the boat, or we may lose the track. So yes, while doing sadhana, we may become falsely puffed up. And the last S, the 6th S. So we have known all this: sadachar, seva, swadhyay, sadhana, and sangha. And the 6th is sat bhav, or having a superior goal in mind. When we have a superior goal in mind, that's the time we can actually keep aside our egos and work together. And we have this classic example of Prithu Maharaj, from the scripture. It was actually an ego battle that was going on between Indra and Prithu. And finally, when Brahmaji came and intervened, and Prithu Maharaj understood that, yes, for the higher purpose, for the pleasure of my seniors, my superiors, for the pleasure of the mission, I must keep aside my desire, although I may be right. So that's one example. And the other example is from Ramayana, Hanumanji and Surasa. Surasa wanted Hanumanji to enter into his body because no one could cross her. Enter into her body because no one could cross her. And as a result, Hanumanji, Surasa opened her mouth. From 10 yojanas to 20, Hanumanji became 30. And that's how she kept opening, making her mouth bigger. And Hanumanji finally became very small, entered into her mouth and came outside. So we have not come here to go from 10 yojanas to 20 yojanas to 30 yojanas if someone goes to 40 yojanas. Or someone, also there is no end to it. Basically, all that we have to do is take a humble role, because we know that my mission is far more important than just getting into that ego battles. So these are the 6S models which can truly help us to tackle and deal with our false ego. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. I'm sorry I have spoken way beyond my adhikar. Please pardon me for that. Hare Krishna.